Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Flip Thought Show. It's your host with the most, King Truth, host of Bird, Benny Bo, the one with the word, the one with the flow. And we coming at you live, man, at 6:59. Got some content for you one time. There's going to be some new evidence, and Pac's unaliving has to do with a setup allegedly by Jimmy Lovine. Suge's talking about it, as well as Reggie Wright Jr. We're going to get right into the clip from Dialogue where Suge talks about it. We're going to hit a couple different other videos. This is probably going to be a good look, 20, 30, not nothing too long. Maybe less. But yeah, so we're going to get right into it. Appreciate everybody liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing. Hit that notification bell so I know y'all there, so I can throw it to you when it's in the air, man. And we're going to keep on going. Follow the kick, follow the Twitch, man. Like, comment, share, subscribe. You see the bell right there and the like button, man. Go ahead and tap that one time. What else, man? Welcome to y'all, you feel me? But yeah, this is some breaking news, though. We gonna get right into it. Let's go.
I always heard this rumor that years before Tupac signed with Death Row, you tried to sign him?
I mean, definitely, because you gotta remember one thing. Pac always been the type of artist or a type of man that had all the potentials in the world. I always thought he's probably one of the best artists around, you know. He the one wrote Gin and Juice first. He didn't put it out, but he was saying that first, you know, Gin and Juice. So we all knew that, right? And Interscope didn't want him. They hated him. I mean, literally pretty much hated him. I wouldn't say hated him like this because he was black. They just thought he was the type of artist that was too militant.
They keep outperforming me and call me crazy, but I hope they never stop. Everyone thinks I have a team, a full-on.
You know, Pac could come in here one day and say, he'd walk in the office and say, how's the White Devils doing? You know, shit like that. I remember we was playing football at Jimmy's house one Sunday, and Pac called me. We all sitting there, and like, man, let's link up. What you doing? I'm like, man, we just got through playing football. I'm in Malibu, and then Jimmy he just jumped up and like, you know, he wasn't saying it, but you can read his lips. Don't tell him where I live at. Don't tell him where I live at. They was terrified of Pac. So that made me feel like hip hop is about expressing yourself. That made me I really wanted to do business with him because he was special. I think by far Pac was the best artist of all time. So definitely wanted to do that. When I went to go business, it was just about helping.
Right. So that rumor is true then, that the Gin and Juice idea came from Pac.
Yeah. I mean, if anybody know Pac, they know Pac. That's the type of shit Pac be on. Pac gonna talk about what he know, what he do. Pac the first one brung blunts to Death Row, to my artists. You know, they smoked zigzags. If you notice, Snoop always talked about zigzags, and all of them. Pac the first one said, shit, this was up with the blunts right here. he was splitting the blunts and piping the weed with the blunts, the swishers. So Pac was always ahead of his time, you know, always by far.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
Pac was intelligent. A lot of people probably don't realize it, but Tupac was a smart man. Tupac had a vision. Not only just to help himself, but to help others. So that's always was a plus when you look at that. Like I said, like if I took him somewhere to do anything for the kids or the hospitals, I didn't have to twist his arm. I say, hey, I'm going to go to the hospital and give out toys to the kids. Let's go. I'm going to the hood to do some stuff for the kids. Let's go. Everybody else, you got to pretty much persuade them. Try to, like, you know, force them or make them go. Pac was in a class by himself. Definitely loyal. Probably one of the most loyal persons I know. I know that he tried to give David Kenner a fair chance to be loyal to him because David brought me inside the prison to help me get Tupac out of prison. And Pac was one of the first guys saying, hey, because I was telling you before, he's a criminal attorney, but don't use it for an entertainment attorney. And he wanted to give him a fair chance because he got me in there to go visit him in prison. At the end, Pac fired him real aggressively, called him white devils and called him stealing. So when Pac sued me, which I not Tupac, but when the state sued me, I was in prison. I had no idea I was getting sued by them or saying anything. I had no lawyer, no nothing. And one of the things was that everybody wanted to settle because David Kenner had stole so much money from Tupac. And it showed, and the receipts was there. And I remember questioning all that. I remember catching Steve Cantrop and Gelfand was one of the biggest, by far the biggest, you know, accounting firm in the music industry. And when I was using them, they couldn't sign a check nothing over $5,000. And they were stealing millions of dollars from me and Death Row and artists. And when I caught them, I was saying, well, I'll be going to prison. And 1,000% sure, they had me go to prison. And the thing about all this, I could have showed up and fought the Tupac case and showed that we didn't take $1 from him. I overpaid him. And if anybody didn't like that, we could have went about that bullshit Interscope contract. But the lawyers didn't settle it when I was in prison of the fact that they knew what they was doing illegal. And you know, when you look at it, it's a lot of racist people in the industry. And even when it came to the point now, I think back how the stuff I did to make sure Snoop didn't go to prison, or this person didn't go to prison. And most attorneys wouldn't put people on the stand when they know they're lying. David was a good lawyer because he allowed a witness to lie. He'd take a witness out the car, out the situation. They'd be looking for him. He said, nope, it wasn't him. He'll hold the guns. He'll do everything illegal that he is to do to be illegal. And I'm saying it now, and people are saying, why are you saying it now? And you weren't saying it when he was doing stuff for you. Definitely wasn't, because he was doing the stuff for my artists. He would deserve a pat on the back. But when you turn around and get street wars, we won the street wars. There was wars before because I thought people was lying when they said that they gave David some money. I just go snatch David and take him to a motherfucker. It's the action. And David like, well, I didn't give him any money, but you gave us money for me and this other person, but we didn't do nothing good night. So a lot of things happened in those days that was so fast and aggressive. Because for me, it was about being a businessman and being about the people and helping the people. I was giving my artists stock in Death Row that no one else can get that. I'm quite sure nobody's doing that now. They didn't have ownership, but they had stock. So if I would have sold Death Row for 500 million, 700 million, they would be able to cash in every last one of them. I think those things is important, especially today.
Consumers are on the move, and it's your job to keep up. What if your curiosity could propel you forward?
All right, cool. Should we good, man? Happy to have you back on the platform, man.
Man, every day's a blessing. Ain't nothing changed, you know? Ain't smart being stupid.
Yes, indeed. So with that being said, man, before we get into the interview I've been dropping for the last week or so,
I always wondered where Suge Knight got this statement from. Ladies and gentlemen, Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. helped orchestrate and set up Tupac Shakur and Suge Knight. He was working against Death Row. Let's get into some of this straight game. It's not hit the little bell notification right below this video, and we'll notify you when we drop some of this straight game. Ladies and gentlemen, I just came across something. I've always wondered when Suge Knight said that I had two of the toughest guys on Tupac, right? But Reggie pulled them off of him. I've always wondered where that statement came from. Why would Suge say that, right? Why would he say that? And I found the key piece of evidence of why he would say that. But it reveals more than just why he said that statement, right? It reveals so much more. And what it reveals is, well, first, let me show you where it came from. And then I'm going to break down what you should understand from what this is. This is where the statement came from, where Suge Knight said, I had two of the toughest guys on Tupac in Vegas that night, but Reggie pulled them off of him. Listen to what Frank Alexander says right in front of Reggie the Rat Wright Jr.'s face and Suge Knight's face when Suge was trying to find out what happened. Listen.
Tupac and Alexander are alone in a crowd with no radio or weapon.
I think this needs to be let out. To me, that's the beginning of our downfall.
I don't own Right Way Security. I work for Reggie. I go, there should have been more security with us. I had already asked you and told you that we needed more bodyguards on Pac. I asked for more security. He goes, well, what happened to Michael Moore? He was with you that day. I said, he was called to go back over to 662. And every answer I gave Suge was answers that Reggie should have been giving Suge or Suge should have known. So then Suge says to me, he goes, he says to Reggie, he goes, Reg, he goes, what's up? You know, what was the breakdown in security? And Reggie was like, and Al was a supervisor, and now here's the finger being pointed again.
Boom. You hear that? What does that reveal to you? Let me tell you what it reveals to me. First and foremost, Suge Knight asked asked Frank Alexander. He said, well, Frank, what happened to Michael Moore? He was with you earlier, right? Then Frank goes in to say, Michael Moore was pulled off of Tupac and called back to Club 662, right? We know for a fact that was Reggie, based on the fact that Tim Williams, who was Michael Moore's roommate, was in the room when Michael Moore got the call from Reggie, asking him, or basically telling him to come to Club 662. Listen.
When it comes to Michael Moore, was anybody calling his hotel room, trying to figure out his whereabouts, or see if he was coming to 662 or if he was still on Tupac? Was there any kind of information like that you were witness to?
There was a phone conversation, John, but I don't know exactly what the conversation was about. After Mike got off the phone, what I do remember was he was angry because he was told not to carry his gun, and he had got taken off for Tupac.
Okay, my follow-up to that question is, you said he was angry that he couldn't carry his gun and that he was taken off of Tupac. Is the reason he couldn't carry his gun because he was taken off Tupac? Like, were they going to make him go to the club or something, and that's where it was off limits to carry the gun?
He was mad because he had gotten taken off of Pac, and he was mad because he couldn't carry his weapon to the club.
Gotcha. Okay, so he would be unarmed at the club. How were you? Where the phone call took place? How were you a witness to it? If you don't mind explaining that.
Because I was his roommate. I was in the room with him.
That old phone laying around, you could toss it, sure. Or recycle it. Don't add to the scrap heap. Get paid for that old phone at ecoatm.com.
Larry, check this out. With On Deck, we could get a small business loan fast and start hiring more help right away.
Or smash. So went in front of Suge at Suge's house, and Suge is basically, Frank Alexander is explaining to Suge what happened when Suge was wondering what went on. And Suge basically says, well, where was Michael Moore? He was with you earlier. And he said Michael Moore was called back to the club. Notice when Frank Alexander shift to Reggie to explain what happened, Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. defers and says that, well, Al Giddens was a supervisor. No, that's not going to work. Remember, Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. said that he talked to Tupac twice that night. Once he told it to the grand jury. So you have to understand, in him saying all of these things that he did, right? And then you rewind back to when Frank Alexander was talking about when Suge was trying to find out what was going on. What else did Frank say? Frank said, I told you Pac needed more security. That is proof what? That what Suge was saying as far as the security guards and sending more security when he told Reggie, that it's true. Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. lied about that. See, they're right in front of his face. And Frank is telling Suge right in front of Reggie's face, I told you that Pac needed more security. I told you this, blah, 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 that. And then Suge then turns to Reggie. He's like, yo, what's up, Reg? All of the questions that Frank Alexander was asking was supposed to be answered by Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. Namely, the question and why when Suge asked about, well, Michael Moore was with you earlier, what happened to him? And Frank Alexander said he was called back to Club 662.
To this day, I believe that Tupac was under the impression that I was going to be going to the MGM Grand with him. But that wasn't the case. When I went to my room, I knew in my heart I wasn't coming back because I had been instructed to go to Club 662, and that's what I did. He got a little upset because now that I think back on it, he said he's paying for this shit and that he is telling us where we're going. I remember him saying that real loud that day in the lobby. But I'm paying for you. You go where I say go. And then I said, Frank, you need to make a phone call to Reggie.
And Pac said, Michael,
come over to the MGM and meet us over there. Tupac even called Reggie and had Frank get in touch with Reggie to find out where Michael Moore was at. So the problem was festering, and I knew something wasn't right. So when I went to my hotel room, I told Tim Williams, something is not right here, Tim.
And when Frank referred to Reggie to respond, notice Reggie said nothing about calling Michael Moore back to Club 662. So when Suge Knight says, I had two of the best guys on Tupac that night, but Reggie pulled him off of him, he got that from Frank Alexander. Frank told Suge right in front of Reggie's face, Reggie the Rat Wright Jr.'s face, what happened, and Reggie didn't dispute not one word of it from what Frank Alexander said. Amazing. Amazing. Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. set up Tupac Shakur to be hurt that night. He sabotaged the security, y'all. This right here proves everything, because before, I was wondering, like, well, Suge heard, where did he hear? Where did he get that from? But Reggie pulled him off of him, because he was at the fight, But more importantly, Suge didn't know that Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. had pulled Michael Moore off of Tupac. He didn't know. He didn't know anything. You hear him. He's asking Frank, yo, Michael was with you earlier. What happened? And Frank tells him what? He was pulled off and, back to Club 662. Tim Williams says what? Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. is lying. Yeah. Tim Williams also confesses that, hey, you know what? Reggie, Michael was told not to carry his gun. Wow. Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, if this doesn't shed any new light on who Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. is and what happened, nothing will. This is right in front of Suge Knight's face. And so now we have context as to why Suge said that. And Suge said, there was already a plan to do something to him. Reggie knew about that plan. He knew about that plan. Yeah. And he sabotaged Tupac's security so something actually could happen to him. I wouldn't say specifically in dealing with the Orlando Anderson situation. But it was primed for something to happen to Tupac. Ladies and gentlemen, please wake up. Please wake up. So everything that Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. had said, mind you, he's right in front of Suge Knight. Frank Alexander is right there. And Frank is basically explaining what happened and said he told him that, Pac needed more security. So Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. knew. He knew that. He knew it. And he did nothing about it, man. Reggie the Rat Wright Jr., like I said, the Tupac estate, they need to really look at this guy, man. Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. Is negligent in the death of Tupac Shakur for causation and negligence. Deliberate negligence, ladies. This proves it right here. Frank is saying that, yo, I told him Pac needed more security. Suge is saying, yo, I called and told Reggie, send 5 more security guards. That's 2 people saying it, man. The CEO and one of the security guards. And when they refer to Reggie, the first thing he said, well, Al Gooden was the supervisor. Absolving himself of any responsibility. Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. Like I said, once again, ladies and gentlemen, I need you to digest this information. Share this video, because this right here proves beyond any shadow of a doubt as to what happened. The person who was in charge of security had no explanation to anything. from his own security guard telling him Tupac needed more security, from the CEO telling him he needed more security, and from the fact of the matter that Michael Moore was pulled off of him. And Suge didn't know and admitted that he didn't know. And when they went to Reggie the Rat Wright Jr., the only thing he could say was, Al Giddens was the supervisor. As if he, as Reggie the Rat Wright Jr., wasn't responsible and wasn't calling the shots. Amazing. Your boy Delray. Ladies and gentlemen, Suge Knight has finally revealed who was responsible for the death and the attempted murder of him and Tupac Shakur. Ladies and gentlemen, I got the clip right here, courtesy of Choke No Joke. Let's get into some of this straight game, ladies and gentlemen.
Life is like playing cards. It's not what you dealt, but how you play it.
If you want to build an app and have no idea how to code or where to start, check out Base 44.
You don't want no security. Let them, his homeboys do it. Let them run around. I hope he get arrested and they get arrested with guns on him, so he's asking if I let him go back to jail.
Ooh. And Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. had been denying it all these years. Listen to me very carefully. Suge Knight had never said anything about that. I knew all along. Ladies and gentlemen, you got to listen to what I'm about to tell you. You got to listen to this. Suge Knight never spoke about Tupac firing Reggie. He never said anything about it. See, Reggie's been lying about this. Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. has been lying about this for years. Ladies and gentlemen, I showed you the documentation in where Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. actually told the police 3 days after Tupac's death, ladies and gentlemen. Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. went to the Los Angeles Police Department and told them that Suge Knight had gang members on his payroll and they were carrying weapons, ladies and gentlemen, which led to a what? A traffic stop. MC Hammer was the one who kind of cut the police off so that Suge and them could get away. This is facts, ladies and gentlemen. Look at the documentation. Look, this is nothing that I made up. I'm telling you. So now, Suge Knight has just said it. And the reason why. Right? Suge said, what? It was Reg and the dirty cops. And some snitching gang members. Now, I don't know who he's talking about in regards to that, right? But it is just confirmed that recently Keefe D just came out and basically said by him cooperating with the government, right, that he thinks that he's supposed to get some kind of leniency or the charges dismissed in regards to the Tupac murder case. I think Suge is just bringing it home. Like I said, I only been reporting on, like I said, when I got the documentation, the letter that Tupac fired Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. When Yasmin, Yaki Gaddafi, and you got to understand the connection with this. Yasmin Fula is Yaki Gaddafi's mom, Tupac's godmother, right? She was there. She was the one that wrote the letter firing David Kenner and also firing Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. had been denying it. He never said anything about it. He said something slick about Yasmin, though. And Yasmin slid that facts out. Boom.
Put that out because I said something that she didn't like and she had some letter she put up. I can't say that I got it or didn't get it. I didn't get it. I didn't know about it. Because I sure would. I'm the type of nigga to be like, fuck that nigga. That's me. That's Reggie. If y'all don't know anything about him, I didn't need that little $300 a day profit I was making off for having those two guys on now. That's enough. But You don't want no security. Let them, his homeboys do it. Let them run around. I hope he get arrested and they get arrested with guns on him, so he's asking about letting him go back to jail.
Ooh. And Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. had been denying it all these years. Listen to me very carefully. Suge Knight had never said anything about that until now on Choke No Joke. He never said anything about it, right? Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. had been telling us he ran Death Row. If you listen to the whole interview over on Choke No Joke, Suge vehemently denies that Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. ever ran Death Row. I showed y'all the documentation and Suge actually doing some kind of deposition and where they asked him, who ran Death Row while you were incarcerated? And he said, Michelle A. But Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. had been trying to get us to believe that he was the guy that was running it. Suge also says that he put out one record. You got to go listen to Chokes No Joke whole interview. But I wanted to bring you this part because, like I said, once again, when I was trying to tell people what it was, this is what Keith B.D. was alluding to when they went into the jail, right? And he implicated Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. in the death of Tupac Shakur.
Financial controllers. Tired of manually copying over details of every Amazon or online purchase?
How many lies has this guy told Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. in regards to the death? The lie he told about, Suge told me what happened shortly afterward. I showed you the video, but that didn't happen. Suge said he never came to the hospital, to his whole hospital room. That's where he said Suge told him that. Right? Then he wanted to invoke Michael Moore only when it came to the point where Suge told him that he was a lie. He said, oh, Michael Moore, and the lawyer went to the hospital. But before then, he never admitted to it. That's what Michael Moore said he heard got him over the radio. Reggie had denied that. All of it's true, ladies and gentlemen. All of it's true. You got the letter. Proof. You got Suge saying it. Proof. He never spoke on it. Proof. Reggie lied and said Suge, they were at the Keyshawn Johnson draft party at the House of Blues. Right? And he said something in regards to Tupac firing him.
We went to this party. It was the night of the draft on the 1996 draft date. Keyshawn Johnson had a draft party at the House of Blues. And Tupac showed up. And I don't know who he was with. He probably was with Big Syke and Bogart. I don't even know if Bogart was still around yet. But Big Syke and somebody like me was like, Reg, where's Pac's security at, man? Where's his security? I'm like, that nigga sent me a letter over the day faxing me, firing me. I don't play no games. That nigga don't want no security on him. Cool. That's less of a headache than me trying to find somebody to work. And Suge looked at me and Suge like, we was right there in the middle of the club at House of Blue. So Reggie, don't play like that, man. Don't play like that. Pac, number one, he don't pay you no way. He ain't hired you no way. I hired you. I paid him. Don't play like that.
It didn't happen there. Ladies and gentlemen, that happened shortly before Tupac was assassinated in Las Vegas. How? How do I know that? I gave you the information. When was the letter written? August 27th, 1996. The letter firing Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. It couldn't have happened in June. Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. tried to put it out to June to some Keyshawn Johnson record release. Draft party. That's 2 months. 2 months before the letter was even released. Remember, Yasmin was the one who wrote the letter. There were no letters firing Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. in June. It was August 27th. And Suge just copped to it and said what? Yeah. He was mad because Tupac fired him. And Suge said, yeah. Reg and some dirty cops, they fired back. Why you think Reggie wasn't there? Was Suge and him? They asked him in the grand jury. He was, what? He acted like he had to go to Club 662 to do something for Suge. Suge said he didn't authorize Reggie to do anything. That wasn't Reggie's position. Reggie was security. And when it came down to what it was, Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. failed Suge Knight and Tupac Shakur on that night. But not only that, that was my summation of what it was, because I couldn't speak on what Suge knew or didn't know, right? But ladies and gentlemen, Suge Knight has finally admitted it. He never talked about Tupac firing Reggie. Him and Reggie were friends, right? And some shit Suge, I guess he just didn't want to admit at that particular time, but it came out. Here it is once again, listen.
But when it came to us getting shot in Vegas, that was the crooked police along with some crooked ass, rat ass gang members that was mad because Tupac fired you. And y'all fired back.
You can take it or leave it. You can take it or leave it. Like I said, once again, what he's saying is true once again when you think about the motion that KPD just filed and cooperating with the government. He feels like by him cooperating with the government, right, that he's supposed to not be charged in the murder of Tupac Shakur based on what he thought was immunity that he had. That's what Suge is talking about. That's what it sounds like he's talking about to me. But then when he says the thing about Reggie the Rat Wright Jr., my God.
At some point, being scrappy turned into being self-destructive. Every time something slipped, an email, a meeting, a follow-up, I blamed myself.
I told you it wasn't a sprint, it was a marathon. And the truth cometh in the morning. Like I said, once again, you know, the sad part about this is Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. is still over there with Gullible John, the very guy who did not tell him that he filed for bankruptcy. Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. said he found out online through what a couple of people were saying. And then the paperwork came out. Amazing. Amazing. So when you talk about the facts, the real, like I said, I've given you nothing but straight game. Absolutely, positively nothing but straight game. I've also given you the video in where Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. says this about Tupac. Listen.
Put that out because I said something that she didn't like and she had some letter she put up. I can't say that I got it or didn't get it. I didn't get it. I didn't know about it. Because I sure would. I'm the type of nigga to be like, fuck that nigga. That's me. That's Reggie. If y'all don't know anything about it, I didn't need that little $300 a day profit I was making up for having those two guys on now. But like, you don't want no security. Let them, his homeboys do it. Let them run around. I hope he get arrested and they get arrested with guns on him, so he's asking if I'll let him go back to jail.
You still don't believe me? Well, maybe you believe Suge now. See, it was never nothing that I tried to insinuate, get you to believe, because I said it. I'm not into that. I don't care about that. This is what he said. This is what Suge said. This is the guy that gave him the job. This is the guy who knew from the inside what was going on, the temperature, and all of that. Ladies and gentlemen. So when you understand what it is, Suge Knight has spoken. What the authorities are going to do about it, who knows, right? Like I said, KPD trial is coming up. And I'm sure the government is listening. especially when it comes to Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. Once again, like I told you, Reggie has admitted to being a snitch. He's admitted to being a snitch. He said the only time I cooperate and is on. He said when I cooperate with the federal government or the government is when he tell on crooked mayors. Listen, he said he said I snitched on crooked mayors and niggas that I don't like. That's what Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. said. Yeah, he said that. There's no shame in this game. Like I said, that people operating under a different code nowadays, right? Phil Carson, former FBI agent, basically said that Reggie was a 137 informant. These are facts. So when Suge Knight says dirty cops, there you have it. There you have it. And so, like I said, let's not forget the initial statement made by not Michael Moore, but Frank Alexander and the other security guard. I can't think of his name right now. I can't think of his name. Where he challenged Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. to a lie detector test for $100,000. Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. never stepped up. Now we understand why. Amazing. So if you have nothing else on your mind in regards to the murder of Tupac Shakur, you can count by the words of Suge Knight that Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. is complicit in the death of Tupac Shakur. Like I told you before. But Suge has told you now, so I don't need to say it anymore. I gave you the link, like I said, in everything that he said and everything that he lied about in regards to that situation. And the fact, listen, you got to understand this one. And the fact that he had asked Frank Alexander to lie and say what? In regards to the fight at the MGM Grand. That Orlando Anderson tried to snatch Tupac's chain. And that didn't happen. See, Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. is like Judas was to Jesus, like Tupac said. He came to cause confusion. And as long as he can keep you confused, he can keep you off the truth. Trying to divert your attention. But Suge Knight has spoken about that night, about the Tupac firing. He never said anything about it, ladies and gentlemen, until now on Choke No Joke. Very, very interesting. Very interesting. It's very interesting. Like I said, once again,
if you get stuck on a melody or if you just feel like you can't get a song started, Output's co-producer is very dope. They make it much easier for us to either get inspiration or to help us when we just can't find that right element. Let me show you guys how this thing works. I made a really quick beat, but it doesn't sound finished. And that's where a co-producer will come in to help you out. Low co-producer.
And the fact of the matter was, he asked Frank Alexander to lie and say that. Not only did he ask him to lie, Frank testified to the police, to the government about Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. asking him to lie. Not only did he ask him to lie about that, he tried to pressure him to lie in regards to the Suge Knight situation. About the subpoena, remember? 1 minute he's touting one thing in the public. I just wanted him to come to testify. I just wanted him to come to testify. These other channels were talking to Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. talking about, well, Reg, you wanted Frank to come testify, Yeah, I just wanted him to do his job. But guess what Frank Alexander did? He recorded Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. saying what? Frank, if you conduct a subpoena and not get subpoenaed, then everything should be all good. But in public, he was saying, I want, Frank to come testify, and tell the truth. No, he didn't. And Frank caught it on tape. Reggie was backdoor dealing the whole time, like I told you once before. But now that we heard it from Suge, we need even not think anymore about it, do we? Like I said, once again, and so when Keith D was saying what he was saying, people was laughing, talking about, the person, Reggie, when he pointed to Reggie and said Reggie was partly responsible for the death of Tupac Shakur. Remember, what did Keith D say? If I go to jail for the murder of Tupac Shakur, then Reggie the Rat Wright Jr. should go to jail for the murder of Biggie Smalls. Point blank, period. How does Keith D know that? How does he know that? You just heard what Suge Knight said. Listen one more time.
But when it came to us getting shot in Vegas, that was a crooked police along with some crooked ass, rat ass gang members that was mad because Tupac fired you. And y'all fired back.
That's heavy, man. That's heavy. Reggie Wright Jr. is pretty conniving, man. That's crazy. We're gonna check out Los Angeles real quick. See what they have to say about it. All right, let's do this 5-minute quick leg. Huh? I heard a quick play. Come over.
Join eToro's Learn and Earn Challenge and earn cash. It's easy. Visit etoro.tw/earn. Take some of our investing courses, test your knowledge by completing quizzes, and get a cash bonus for each passing grade. At the end of the challenge, take our survey to get paid. Boom! Learn and earn on eToro today.
Welcome back to Scandalous Los Angeles TV, where we expose the exposers. Every now and then, Marion Knight drops not one, but a flurry of interviews. And lately he's been on a roll. For the past couple of days, the streets and the internet have been buzzing after CS2 back, and Reggie Wright Jr. went online claiming Simon had AIDS. Well, Simon wasn't about to let that one slide. This time, he phoned into the Art of Dialogue podcast with a mission: to shut those rumors down once and for all. Not only did he firmly deny the health rumors, but he also had some pointed, unfiltered words for his longtime friend turned rival, Reggie Wright Jr.
Yeah. These must be the photos you talking about you wanted me to find from the night you and Pac were shot in Vegas. Yeah, I see them. Yeah, they saying these photos came out some years ago. They new photos, but yeah. I never seen these photos, man. Yeah, I see blood on the seats. I see a Diet Coke. Who Diet Coke was that?
That has to be my big ass. You know what I'm saying? Diabetic and everything else. I was trying to get a 6-pack. I didn't have it then. I had to go to prison to find a 6-pack.
Speaking of a 6-pack, I gotta ask you, what's this rumor going around saying that you got AIDS? They saying you got health issues?
Okay, well, look. First of all, let's put it to the point. They can look at my whole medical file. Attorney has it. And if I had a sexual disease or AIDS or anything else, what they're trying to say, let's go straight to the point. Anytime you get shot, anytime you got to have a surgery, anytime you get hurt, they're going to check you and see if you got AIDS. When you're in prison, they give you egg tests. They can open my whole file up and see I don't have a disease. The second thing is that people should really watch what they say. Now, you know, ain't nothing to be proud of, but I used to always say, ain't a horse I can't break, because I ride horses, ain't a bitch I can't take, regardless for a little while or forever, right? So, 9 out of 10, the one I threw away, you married.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
So, if you married her and you doing what you're supposed to be doing every day, every night, if I did have AIDS, you sucking all the AIDS out of her. But at the same time, I don't have it. Anytime they want to have a test or whatever, I don't got nothing to prove, but I definitely don't have it. And for it, I used to weigh 350. Right now, I weigh 305. By choice. On a mile and a half a day, do my dips, do my pull-ups. If you don't Photoshop my shit, I know I look good. I can come on my shirt. You know what I mean? Also, here go another fact, right? The other fact is this. I've been in prison almost 11 years, 2 months away, right? When Corona came, most everybody got vaccinated. They took the shot. I never got vaccinated, right? So those people next door to me died from Corona. A couple cells over died from Corona. People was falling, right? And they was getting vaccinated. The shot, I didn't get none of that, right? I don't think I caught it. If I did catch it, my immune system was so strong, I never got no symptoms, right? Yeah, you got people who went to jail or a little camp or something, and they get Corona, right? And they was vaccinated. So they say. Corona kicked them in the ass. I would think they might have AIDS. Because once they got Corona, they was in a coma, and they died, lungs messed up, or kidneys, whatever the hell. Hands can't stretch out. They call them lots of claws. And their feet don't stretch out, right? Ain't nothing to be laughing at because it's not a joke.
I'm stoked about Roku in 2025. They just started focusing on the self-service ads manager. It used to be a managed service, or you have to go through one of the large agencies. So I'm very excited for this.
If you were detained at any San Bernardino juvenile detention facility, such as High Desert or Gilbert Street,
This is the money glitch that's getting former detainees properly compensated. San Bernardino juvenile detention staff allegedly failed to properly protect youth from abuse, putting your safety at risk. And now a landmark lawsuit is forcing them to pay victims of sexual abuse and mistreatment. This isn't just talk. Under California law, over 600 former detainees have already filed lawsuits against state agencies. ABC News, Fox, CBS, and Associated Press are covering this because it's following the exact same pattern as the Catholic Church and Boy Scouts cases, where victims received up to $2.7 million each by first filling out a simple qualification form. Here's what most former detainees don't realize. If you've experienced any abuse during your detention, sexual assault, physical harm, threats, coercion, or worse, you may qualify for substantial compensation, but only if you act before attorneys submit the final class action lawsuit. After that, you are permanently excluded. 85% of eligible former detainees will miss this opportunity because they don't think their experience counts or they're waiting too long. It takes just 60 seconds to find out if you qualify. Click this ad now and answer 3 simple questions. Your information remains 100% confidential and there are 0 upfront costs. The attorneys work on a contingency basis. They only get paid if you win. There are absolutely no hidden fees or obligations. You won't pay a single penny unless you receive compensation. You're not committing to anything by checking your eligibility, but you must verify your qualification before the deadline. Don't let the Department of Juvenile Services get away with putting your family and property at risk. Click now to see if you qualify for compensation. This page will be removed once the lawsuit moves forward.
And Simon's absolutely right. The spot Reggie's in is nothing to laugh or joke about. I mean, sure, I might get online and toss around playful nicknames, crack a joke here and there. But there's a line. I'm not going to get on here and talk about someone's physical condition. Because the truth is, you never know if one day God might hand you the exact same burden. That's pride and arrogance. The kind of narcissism I've been talking about when it comes to Reggie. You're sitting in your own storm, yet you're still out here talking about who's got AIDS, who's got herpes, who won't make it out of jail, who's got diabetes, and who's going to die behind bars. What makes you feel so comfortable saying that? As if the Lord can't turn around and hand the same thing to you.
And they got a big old hole in their throat, like they did one of those cigarette commercials. You know, when they be talking about, don't smoke cigarettes or you can end up like this, and all the smoke and the hole in their throat. Because if you look at that person, they got a big hole in their throat, right? So people who throw stones really should just bury themselves. Because it's a sad situation that if we can always try to look at another person, the only way you can make yourself feel good is trying to talk bad about somebody else. That's a sad life.
And that's exactly what I pressed Reggie on in the last episode. Because one thing you have to understand about a narcissist is this. They live for tearing people down. That's their fuel, their way of propping themselves up when everything else is crumbling. That's the core of what we're dealing with right now. Like I've said before, it's narcissism, plain and simple. But this isn't just about one man's ego. No, this comes from the top, the highest of the highs. It's a spirit that's been dropped onto this land, a poison that trickles down and infects everyone it touches. So I'm not going to let people forget it. No matter who we're talking about, no matter what names get mentioned, the root of the problem is above us, and it's raining down on everybody.
But back to the positive side of it. I hope they don't have AIDS. I know I don't. Then you got to remember, too, a lot of the guys, I say this all the time, I just don't know why. I got to get into my Cat Williams voice. I can't believe it. I don't know why all the little bitty short dudes got it in for me. You know, when you get people who like 5'4", 5'5", you know, I know life got to be rough. If you get a bad bitch, she can't even wear heels. She got to wear flats. And when you add being pincher-toed to it and bow-legged with little feet, that's even a worse situation. You add to the fact that...
So you're looking to grow your business, but you don't have time to focus on hiring? I got you. Everyone thinks I've unlocked some new level of discipline. Wow, you're so on top of everything. Wait, you already followed up on that? Your calendar must be a masterpiece. Yeah, about that. Truth is, I hired an AI employee and it's absolutely carrying me. It manages my schedule, replies to emails before I even see them, tracks tasks, follows up with leads, and keeps everything moving without me even lifting a finger. It's faster than me, smarter about priorities, and frankly, I'm just trying to keep up. But that's the point. I stopped trying to do it all and started building a system that does it for me. If your to-do list is a mile long and you're barely keeping up, hire smarter. Start your free trial with Motion and let your AI employee take it from here. Steal my secret weapon, build your AI employee with Motion.
What if your website's success was only limited by one single thing? Privacy regulations. Details matter. Imagine if the Egyptians had run out of limestone just before finishing the pyramids. What if NASA had forgotten the password just before putting the first man on the moon? What if you failed to respect your users' data privacy choices? You've poured your heart and soul into your business. Don't fail at the last step. Enter CookieBot's Web CMP. offering easy implementation, customizable cookie banners, and automation, all designed to boost consent rates and build trust through the power of privacy-led marketing. That way, you can focus on what really matters: growing your business. Start for free at cookiebot.com.
Shit. The diaper is not a choice. A diaper is mandatory. That's another situation. But more importantly is this. We all be better off as so-called friends and enjoying life than trying to pick fights and make enemies. I did all what I was supposed to do. I don't need to argue with nobody. I don't need to fight with nobody. Oh, but I can't fight. Let's read that. And I love the fact that God made me tall and big to be able to play football or sports. Some people is too short to play basketball and too fat to be a jockey.
Right now, Simon's lining himself up against Reggie, and the way he's doing it is pure backhanded shade. He's saying God made him big, strong, tall enough to play any sport. But then he pivots, saying if you're 5 feet 4 inches, you're too short for basketball. And if you're too heavy, you can't be a horse jockey. Make no mistake, he's talking about Reggie.
And if they're going to be a boxer, being 5'4" or whatever, you can't box Mayweather because you're too fucking fat. Way too much. And you can't, heavyweight next to look only kill somebody because you're too short. Some people got little arms. Their arms like turtles. I know some motherfuckers got to change diapers, but some motherfuckers don't.
I can't say if there's any truth to it, but Simon keeps circling back to this diaper talk when it comes to Reggie. He's claimed more than once that wearing a diaper is mandatory. Whether it's fact or fiction, he repeats it like it's part of the storyline. Another jab slipped into the mix. With these two, it's never just about the words. It's about planting an image that sticks.
And they arms so short, I don't know how they wipe their ass. I just don't get it. But besides that, everything's a good day. Every day is a blessing.
You can't stop this, I don't go slow. I might knock, say yo. Ain't no getting around and no figuring out. You gon' get lost on this showboat, it's on. I keep it moving.
Fast teams need a fast CRM, and that's Monday CRM. It all started with the quickest onboarding I've seen. Ben wasted no time customizing the team's lead board to include all the info they need, and even pulled in all the tools they use right away. Then Maria, our head of sales, quickly took care of our busy work and built some key automations without a single line of code. Marcus used the email composition AI tool and sent a mass email to 500 leads in a matter of minutes. To top it all off, Jalen, our director, loves that she can keep up with everything no matter where she is. Thanks to customizable dashboards, she's just one click away from all the data she needs. The whole deal process is way more efficient and deals are closing faster. And that's a must when you're moving this fast. Monday CRM. Move deals faster.
Welcome back to Scandalous Los Angeles TV, where we expose the exposers. In part 1, we explored the FBI's new iteration of its counterintelligence program, COINTELPRO, now repackaged under the black identity extremist stigma. We uncovered how the powers that be have sought to prevent the rise of a black messiah, going to extreme lengths to track and control every movement in the black community. Not only did we examine these covert tactics to suppress Black empowerment, but we also pinpointed the reasons behind the surveillance and targeting. Today, we're shifting gears to discuss the godfather of CS2Back's COINTEL cabal. This mystery man is the only one you've ever heard of, who can be both a suspect and an informant in multiple murders. Not only was he a former Compton police officer, but thanks to his association with, he also found himself in the presence of numerous A-list celebrities. This unique combination made him the perfect candidate and camouflage for law enforcement agencies and wealthy elitists seeking to infiltrate, discredit, and/or neutralize potential threats.
Reggie Jr. was a police officer. I believe he'll talk about his past, but he started off in the jail and then worked also in Compton. But Reggie Jr., he ended up, and I don't want to tell his story for him, but he ended up having an injury and retiring from the police department. And as you know, he's got a business mind, so he started his security company. And growing up with some very high profile people like Suge Knight and in that Compton area, he was able to along the way connect with them and be the head of security, which is a pretty damn big deal for Death Row Records, and was with them for a period of time, and very well-known guy. I want to give a shout out to his platform, which is Bomb First. He has his t-shirt on right now, and we do have some giveaways later in the day that Gina is going to be in charge of. But if you're not familiar with Bomb First, if you go to YouTube, take a look at it. He's got a very powerful platform. And if you want to know the truth about anything, Reggie Jr. is that guy. And when you see him on his YouTube channel, if you follow him like I do, whenever he's leaning into the camera, click on that video because it'll be something good.
Reggie Wright Jr. became an invaluable asset to those in power, using his position to manipulate and control from behind the scenes, furthering agendas that sought to destroy Black success and empowerment. These informants, who gained notoriety only through their connection to Marion Knight, are now fighting to maintain their covert roles, continuing to work behind the scenes while telling stories about Death Row Records. DJ Vladimir Lyubovny makes his federal futon fluffy for these informants, as they lie and implicate others in murders, to cover up the murders of Tupac Shakur and Christopher Wallace.
So when you hear the theory that Poochie was the shooter, what is your take on it? Right on.
I had a talk with Greg Kading about this, and I have my notes. So according to Greg Kading, Poochie killed Biggie.
That's the story, I believe.
And Poochie was an associate of Suge?
Whatever the story is that Greg is pushing is what I believe.
Bob James, this is what you do, huh? So, Suge and Poochie killed Piggy. I done heard it all. You ain't Reg, huh? That's how y'all feeling. Y'all just y'all scared for Suge to get out, huh? You niggas is cold niggas. Reggie Wright, your ass down there died, nigga. Corona. And you still talking, nigga. Boy, niggas gonna get you for that box shit, though.
So you just heard Reggie and Mob James go on Vlad TV and place the murder of Biggie on Marion Knight. K9 from Swans responded in disbelief, expressing his distaste for the lie snitching that he heard them both do. Because Reggie was upset with K9 for his statements, he decided to go on Clubhouse and lie on him in pure Cointel fashion. Before I play the Cointel Clubhouse recording, I want to read what Reggie said about Suge in this article.
I wasn't under the impression about him being an informant. I just know he has rat things in him. The two things that come to mind when I hear Lloyd speak on those issues is that I know he did do this or can do this. The one thing is when he was doing his time in jail for the probation violation on the state side, he knew he had a 6 months tail on the federal side. And he actually reached out to the U.S. attorney that was handling the matter for his 6-month probation violation and said, y'all been trying to get me to cooperate on David Kenner. I'm willing to do that now because I don't want to go 6 months. I'm ready to get out of here. He had me call the U.S. attorney. I did. The U.S. attorney advised me that I can't talk to you, Reggie. You're not his attorney of record. I would have to hear from his attorney, which at the time, the attorney handling the federal matter was David Chesnoff out of Las Vegas. So I called David Chesnoff and told him Suge wanted to do the 6 months and cooperate against David Kenner. David Chesnoff told me, I represent tough guys from the mafia. One thing I don't do is represent rats that would do any type of telling. So you tell Suge if that's what he wants to do, then he needs to remove me or I'll remove myself as his attorney of record.
So you see how Reggie went on allhiphop.com and used the attorney David Chesnoff's name to attach rat allegations on Suge. Now listen to him and his protege CS2 Back work together in an attempt to discredit and slander K-Nina using the same lie.
Hey, bring Reggie Wright up, dog. Bring Reggie Wright. He gonna expose the nigga K9's a rat, dog. Reggie Wright is a nigga that ran death row, cut all the checks, all the attorneys. Bring Reggie Wright up. Red,
you on stage?
Now, Red, now keep it 100, Red. Do I know this nigga K9, bro?
All right, so mute the mic for Red. Mute the mic for him. Nobody else should be talking to
Hey,
him.
Red, do I know this nigga K9, bro?
Let me tell the story on K9. Let me just tell the history. Number one, K9 was brought in by me. K9, to my knowledge, ain't never met Suge Knight in life. Why is he telling that? I don't know. K9 was with a homie, Keita Rock, is the one that really spoke up. He spoke up for K9, and Keita Rock liked K9, and he had me sign K9. I'm the one that put K9 on the one song on Death Row he was on. I mean, K9 was a cool dude when he was with me. He just have lately been kind of, mouthing off.
Reg, do I know this nigga, Reg? You know what I know this nigga.
Hey, only time that I ever know Wack and K9 be around was when we had a little incident at the Flying Museums in Santa Monica when Wack and
he was with my clique or just one of the niggas in the entourage?
Exactly. He was him, but K9 was with us, and it was a bunch of dudes from 2Ps. Of course, the mob dudes and all that. K9 was with us, and one of his big homeboys.
At some point, being scrappy turned into being self-destructive. Every time something slipped, an email, a meeting, a follow-up, I blamed myself. Too disorganized, not focused enough, and bad at time management. But the truth, I was just one person trying to do 10 jobs. Then I stopped pretending I could do it all and hired a team. Not a traditional one, a fleet of AI employees inside Motion. Each one took a piece of the puzzle. Emails, scheduling, outreach, task management, handled without supervision, burnout, or just circling back. Now, nothing falls through the cracks, and I'm not stretched to the edge of burnout just to keep the basics moving. This isn't a story about productivity. It's about finally having backup, real support without costing an arm and a leg. If your business feels heavy, maybe it's time to share the load, one AI employee at a time. So try Motion free for 7 days and finally get the AI team you needed all along.
Boom! So picture this. You just dropped your lastest YouTube video, but with the gazillion uploads every second, how'd you even get noticed? Well, that's easy. VFly's got your back. We're talking real views, real likes, and real subs. Slide into www.vfly.com and let's kickstart your journey to YouTube stardom.
So why this nigga keep insinuating that I know this nigga, Red? We didn't talk to them little niggas, bro.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with why K9 is speaking on Wack like that, like they know each other, because to my knowledge, around Death Row, they didn't have no relationship like that because K9 was only around about a year. Like I said, K9 was gone by time Suge came home.
Suge even came home. Now, what about this nigga when you hired the attorney, bro, when he caught the case in Vegas?
You know, now this is why K9, he said that he left because of a big brim that got killed in front of Montreal. That ain't why K9 left. K9 was going prior to that. K9 left because he caught a case or had a case. Suge wanted to look out, told me to hire an attorney, the big-time powerful attorney named David Chesnall from Vegas.
That's the nigga represent the mob. I know that nigga.
He one of the best attorneys ever. Y'all look up David Chesnall in Vegas. Anybody from Nevada, Vegas know who he is. We sent him down there to represent, to talk to K9. Was going to pay for him to represent K9. We put some money. Well, of course, we had David on retainer. He came back and called me. He said, Reggie, he said, I know that's one of y'all artists, but you know I'm a mafia attorney. And one thing I can't ever in life represent is a fucking rat. And he said, that dude is trying to be an informant, and I can't represent him. I don't care how much money y'all give me. That's when I went back and reported that to Suge, and Suge told me, man, what you got me involved with? Get away from that nigga.
According to Reggie, David Chesnoff initially refused to represent Suge due to allegations of him being an informant. More recently, Reggie states that Chesnoff has also declined to represent K9 for the same reason. If someone doesn't conform to Reggie's desired narrative, they're targeted with false accusations and attempts to ruin their reputation. A clear example of COINTELPRO's strategy in action. While Knight sits incarcerated, these same informants use their platforms to slander and defame others, accusing them of being snitches, when in reality, they are the very ones who have betrayed their own.
If you believe all that, and if you believe all of this, and you believe I was involved in
I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I didn't say that you were involved. I didn't say you were not involved.
Okay. I said, but if you do believe that, let me just ask you this.
Sure, go ahead. Go ahead, Rich.
Why didn't you ever come knocking on my door and talk to me? You saw the 302s on me before. You saw the 302s on me before. You saw the 302s on me before.
There's an FBI 302, a 5-page memo.
Tell everybody what a 302 is.
302 is a memo memorializing a meeting. Here's what I can tell you.
Why would he even meet with them in the first place?
Because he was trying to cut a deal, which is the point Giant's trying to make. He can call anybody and everybody a rat. He was trying to do the exact same thing.
Reggie went on the Bloody Bunch clubhouse room and admitted that he was the one uploading pictures on Marion Knight's Twitter account.
They made that. Reggie, you have information that only you. Reggie, do you run that? Do you run that Twitter though? Do you run that shit like Twitter?
Not currently, but I had authority to do it.
Oh, so you did run it?
Yeah. But he had a lot of content.
Hold on, let's get back to the first question Garden Kings asked you about while Wack and Suge went at it. Wack has content all over the internet going crazy on Wack about something on Twitter when you was in control of it. But I'm going back on you.
Yeah. But that ain't what started their beef. They were already going at it.
So you agreeing that you did post that to turn it up?
No. I didn't have to turn it up. The only thing was put on there
for content.
Yeah. Hold on. Only thing was put up there, and that was crazy. Wait a minute, hold on. The only thing that was put up there about Wack was him acting like he was cleaning the table at in Adam 22. That was the only thing that was ever put on that Twitter about Wack.
And one of the pictures he posted had Marion Knight, Tupac, and Trey Lane from Mob Piru. In the caption, Reggie writes that this little guy is responsible for Tupac's demise. Now Reggie posted this to poke at Trey, and to make people think that Suge was blaming Trey for Pac's death. Reggie was trying to show Trey that he could make people begin to blame him for the murder. Listen to what Reggie says to Trey right here.
And there's a person out there lately. And I'm going to tap at him because I got to remind motherfuckers. Everybody think just because I was a cop, I didn't grow up in the Imperial Courts housing projects. I didn't walk the same payments as their relatives did, and then they did later on in their adult life. I walked the same payments that all of those niggas from Luders Park, East Side, Ma Paru, and played baseball over there in Kelly Park and Ed Hood and all of those neighborhoods. I even went on the Wilson Park side, the west side, and played at Gonzales Park. But it's a nigga that want to play with me, and I'm going to send him a little warning. Matter of fact, I'm going to show the picture. Now, remember I told y'all that all of this Death Row, Southside, Ma Paru bullshit, a lot of people lost their lives. I'm not going to say Tupac. I'm not like Suge, what's been putting up on his Twitter. I'm not like Suge, what's been putting up on his Twitter. I'm not like Suge, what's been putting up on his Twitter.
Do you guys see what he's doing? He's the one responsible for posting the picture on Suge's Twitter. Then he gets on his show and says he's not like Suge. To blame Trey for Reggie just said.
If you want to build an app and have no idea how to code or where to start, check out Base 44.
His hands were messed up, but it didn't matter because he never used his hands. Then he went on to say he was a orca, but he stopped himself before finishing the word. What do you guys think he was gonna say? He was an orca what?
Orchestrator, probably. Probably the orchestrator. That's what he was saying. He probably was the orchestrator. Could be. I don't know. I could be wrong. But yeah. He could have said, basically said, yeah, I was the orchestrator. But yeah, okay, well.
Somebody asked Reggie what word was he gonna say.
A bombshell has just been dropped involving the murder of Tupac Shakur. Keefe D's defense attorneys say that they have uncovered information that Reggie Wright Jr., the former head of...
I've been blessed for a female attorney to reach out to me. Incredibly smart. And it's it. I don't want to say the name. For the simple fact that I don't need the other attorneys trying to aggressively run them off. This is a black woman, so I don't think she's gonna run nowhere.
Attorney Jasmine. She's nice looking. Attorney Jasmine is definitely a great attorney.
Jasmine, okay, we read it out for you, Jasmine. We read it out for you, Jazz. And we're gonna post it up later. We get on there, Jazz, we're gonna post it up for you. Since Pork Butt wanted to take it down.
Why would you do that to a woman, a black woman? Your mama black, your auntie black, your grandmama black? Why would you do that? Over an internet situation that you started. It's not Jasmine Mine's fault.
Jasmine, the attorney. That bitch about to go to jail too because she didn't fuck with the wrong person. But how you gonna put her in jail? Why she going to jail? Hey, now you see why we think you federal? Jasmine, you said that she sent somebody to do something to you. Don't put that on. That ain't nobody finna come messing with the police, Reggie. Y'all be here. Y'all have a reason to call me a rat in about a month.
All the messages, I think people want a reaction from me. I'm aware, but I've been in my depot all day, deposition, discovery, and I don't have much to say besides I'm just grateful to God that I don't live in misery.
Y'all better stop playing with her.
Welcome back to Scandalous Los Angeles TV, where we expose the exposers. When it comes to lawyers in the United States, only about 2% are black women. And somehow, Good old Reggie Wright Jr. has managed to zero in on that rare demographic. Not to celebrate them, but to harass one of them. Now he's waving red flags to the authorities, claiming that attorney Jasmine sent men to his house to kill him. But here's the kicker. This all started because Reggie himself went out of his way to drag her name into the conversation. Jasmine didn't know him, never spoke to him, never even addressed him. Out of nowhere, he inserted himself into Simon's business like clockwork and plucked her name out of thin air, disrespecting her and calling her a groupie. He lit the match, and now he's screaming about the fire. From swagger to scandal, what a fall from grace. If you know anything about me and Reggie, you know I've got to tread lightly when it comes to responding to his content. My channel was thriving, doing real good, until Reggie and his sidekick John started flagging my videos and pulling stunts to shut me down.
You know what? All you little clowns with you little channels that keep tapping their red, saying disrespectful things, well, y'all go over and look at Discretion TV channel. And that's going to happen to you. Y'all keep, that's all I'm going to say. Because his boyfriend called and texted me and told me thank you for giving him at least 2 weeks off.
Just recently, Reggie took down Valentino's video. Actually, 2 of them, hitting him with strikes so he can't upload for another 2 weeks. And Reggie pats himself on the back for it, because Valentino had paperwork on his channel laying out everything Reggie's been going through health-wise. It's wild to me, with all the issues Reggie's facing, the ones spelled out in that paperwork, that he still finds the time to jump online and tear other people down. That's the narcissism in full display. Wheelchair or not, limited movement or not, he's still out here tearing people down. That's just Reggie, I guess.
Okay, Reggie. Yesterday you mentioned that something that it was an eventful week, and you said that something happened at your house where people were coming to your house or something like that. Do you mind if I ask what you were talking about there and what the story is behind that?
Yeah. So I did a video last week, and I called someone on the video a groupie, right? And that's all I said, because I kind of had a lot of respect for this person.
This guy claims he had some respect for her, and then turns exactly what we mean when we say with friends like Reggie.
This person.
This guy claims he had some respect for her, and then turns right around, hops online, and drags her name through the dirt. Puts her picture out there for the world to see, labels her a groupie. But somehow that's what he calls respect. And this is exactly what we mean when we say with friends like Reggie, who the hell needs enemies? If this is how he handles people he says he respects, just imagine what he'd do to someone he doesn't.
Even though she has been disappointed because of some audio that I had released earlier where Suge Knight, not me, I didn't say anything bad. I was actually complimenting the person by saying, hey, you seem to have a good team around you now and smart people around you. But Suge Knight called him a runner.
This guy just finished saying he was complimenting Simon, talking about how he had a solid team around him now. Then he tries to tear that solid team that Simon had around him apart, playing some secret audio where he claims Simon was calling her a runner. I mean, how miserable do you have to be? There's a reason he's doing all this to Simon, and it's not just random drama. It feels like there's something Reggie's trying to cover up. Why else would he go so far out of his way? You see the medical condition he's in, and yet he's still locked in on Simon, like it's his full-time job. To the point where he's out here exposing the lawyers Simon talks to, posting recordings, saying, "Oh, Simon said this about this girl," then running back to tell another woman, "Oh, Simon did that." And from where I'm sitting, it looks like he's been playing that game with Simon for years, bouncing between the different women Simon's involved with, feeding each of them a different story. Simon said this. Simon did that. You see the pattern? This man will look you in the eye and say, "You've got a good team," and then turn right around and sabotage it.
And said something about one of their family members, and what it is she don't want nobody to know that she's communicating with Suge like she does. And so I called her a groupie because that's what I always thought of her when I was like, damn, how she meet Suge anyway?
Why does Reggie act like he knows every single detail of Simon's life? He's out here questioning, oh, how does she even know Simon? Like he personally knows every single person Simon's ever met. It just shows you how deep this goes in his mind. Deep down, Reggie must really feel like he is Simon or something. He's not just watching from the sidelines. In his head, he's living Simon's life.
You know, she wrote Suge up there in prison and say what she is and what she does and all of that, and they developed this relationship. The only reason I call her a groupie is because, yeah, I know how social media is, right? And people put everything on social media. So I knew she didn't work with anyone famous other than Suge. But I saw on her Facebook page and her Instagram page, she had pictures of all these people.
Let's be real. It's not even Reggie doing that. It's that white guy sitting next to him, John. John's the one grabbing her pictures and putting them out there. But he always manages to slide out of the spotlight, while Reggie takes the heat. Still, John's right there, complicit in all of it. But I can't help but wonder, would John feel the same if we started posting pictures of his baby's mom? You know, those shots of her carving Halloween pumpkins she puts online. Something tells me he wouldn't be laughing if the tables got turned.
Like Diddy, Master P, T.I., Boosie, I mean, about 15 different Usher. I'll say no, lustering over Usher at a concert.
What if she was just enjoying herself at an Usher concert? Would she be the first woman to get caught up in the moment? Of course not. But when you leave it to coons like Reggie, they'll twist anything a black person does into a flaw, drag it online, and rip it apart for the world to see. And let's be honest, this is nothing new for him. Reggie's spent damn near his whole life working with the police, putting black people behind bars, tearing down his own community. That's second nature.
And all these people on social media, and I was like, okay, this is a groupie. She cool chick, not bad looking when she made up, because the picture's unfiltered. Oh my God! But when she made up, she looks good. So I was like, okay, so.
If this dude isn't a narcissist, then I don't know what narcissism is. Think about it. A man sitting in a wheelchair who's openly admitted he has to wear a diaper still feels bold enough to tear down a young, beautiful black woman. A lawyer, no less. Intelligent, accomplished, and sophisticated enough to make it in a field where only 2% look like her. And what does he do? He tries to reduce her to nothing, saying she only looks good with filters, tossing out cheap insults like groupie. That's not just petty. That's proof there's something seriously off in his head. This man will sit there, wearing a diaper, and still act like his shit doesn't stink.
What you doing? You know, I live in a nice community, gated community. I'm like, what you doing in my yard? What you doing out front? So he don't want to answer because he don't want to give it up, right? He ain't no snitch, right? But his homeboy that I stay with him, I know him too. He's like, man, that person you made mad, and she zelled us some money to come to your house to. I was like, what? And y'all took it?
So, according to Reggie, he's looking at his security cameras and spots someone in his yard, a guy he recognizes as a gang member. He says he calls the guy's phone, and sure enough, the man answers while literally standing outside Reggie's house. Reggie claims the guy didn't want to be a snitch, so instead he passed the phone to another man who was with him, someone Reggie also knew. Now, according to Reggie, this second guy was more willing to talk. And what did he allegedly say? That a woman Reggie had made angry had sent them over there to kill him. All this happened while they were in Reggie's front yard.
He's like, I didn't know it was you, Reg, until you called. Huh? Like, yeah, that's the drama. And so, I was like, okay. And so they leave, of course, nothing happened because, now niggas. But I said, where does Zell at? She send you money? Niggas, shoot me that screenshot where she send you some money. All right. So she sent that address and that address, my mama and them address, the address to the church. She shot all that. You got that on screenshot? Yeah, Reg. Yeah, man. Just don't do nothing to us. Don't. Okay, y'all playing like that for a female that y'all don't know? Oh no, we were just trying to get the money from her. She offered us 5 G's, Reg. But she only shot us this amount. Okay. All right. Do what y'all do. Get y'all money, niggas. Get y'all money is what I told them. Cause let's play.
When Reggie says, let's play, that's his code for calling the police. I remember a clip from a while back. I couldn't find it again, where he straight up said if he was ever really scared of someone, he'd have them institutionalized in a heartbeat. And right now, Reggie is scared. You can hear it in the way he's talking about putting this woman behind bars. It's wild, because over the years we've heard all kinds of stories about him. Even the one where Vincent Buchanan was killed. Reggie claimed he was kidnapped by men in police jackets. And in Compton, the minute people heard police jackets, they pointed the finger at him. This is a man who's been accused of having a hand in murders. Yet God put him in a chair, took the power from his legs, took the power from his hands. And now, according to him, he's being bullied by a woman in her 30s. The same guy who spent years as the big bad bully is now calling the cops on a woman and making up stories because he's scared. The man who once intimidated others can't even defend himself. And there
he can get, right? Because it's on Westlaw.
And this is how dangerous Reggie is. Now he's taking something he saw on Discretion TV and trying to pin it on attorney Jasmine. That's how disgusting this dude operates. That's how deep his rat behavior runs. He's out here trying to implicate people in anything and everything. His logic? Oh, Discretion TV put up something only an attorney could get. Okay. And? There are millions of attorneys in the world. So why are you so quick to pin it on her? And by the way, I heard Discretion TV's videos are back up, even though Reggie tried to take them down. Shout out to Discretion TV for that one.
And yeah, so y'all know now the cat's out the bag. Reggie got paid.
Now he's out here saying he got paid. Paid by who? Paid how much? Paid for what exactly? He's just spilled everything he had to say, and now he's flipping it around, claiming there was a payday involved. Boy, this dude is rattled.
But anyway, it's all good. That's something, So we get this little lawsuit. So she pulling up this lawsuit. he think it's prison records and stuff. And he, he's so dumb. And he reading off all my HIPAA information. And yeah, when I first came out, because y'all got to remember, I was paralyzed from neck down. I'm a baller, striker, strike. I wore diapers when I first came home from prison. I mean, from the hospital. I couldn't move my neck. I couldn't do shit. Couldn't do nothing. So he reading all that shit off and talking all of that bullshit. And reading off all my personal information, my driver license, my everything, anything personal I had, my health insurance, telling people. And I'm like, okay, so this bitch playing that dirty. Okay. I know how to play dirty. That's one thing. And I'm surprised Suge Knight ain't telling her, you don't fuck with Reggie because Reggie go deep. He goes deep.
And this is how sick Reggie is. He's the one who brought her name up. She never mentioned him. He started it, not the other way around. And now he's out here saying Simon should have told her, I go deep, when he's the one who lit the fuse in the first place. That's how twisted a narcissist's mind works. It's no big deal when he dishes it out. But the second he gets punched back in the mouth, suddenly it's a problem. And with guys like this, they lie so much, you can't even tell where the truth ends and the fiction begins.
Stay tuned. That's all I'm going to say. Stay motherfucking tuned. Because Suge Knight done got attorney Culpepper in trouble. Attorney, well, y'all know all the attorneys he got in trouble. Well, add one more to the list. If her parents don't call me and tell me, Reggie, you know us from way back.
And then to add insult to injury, Reggie just said that if her parents don't reach out. So that means this old dude actually knows this girl's parents. Think about that. He knows her family, yet he's on the internet calling her a groupie and throwing all kinds of disrespect her way. That's how sad of an individual this man really is.
You've been on us. Our daughter is just got some mental issues. Because it got to be the thing she doing, some gangster niggas gonna cash out them like she know them, don't know them from nothing but phone calls on the phone with Suge Knight. Going on Westlaw website, downloading stuff. Cash out, all the phone records, all of that. She should know all of that is...
Reggie, where are the receipts? You're out here claiming you've got texts, Cash App records, Westlaw downloads, paperwork on paperwork. Cool. Then show them. Screenshots, timestamps, anything. Because right now, it's all accusation and zero proof. Put up or quit the performance.
All that information that can be retrieved by any... All I gotta say is I hope like hell, whatever the liability insurance company or the insurance is for attorneys, payment is up to date. That's all I got to say. I hope that payment is current. Because your boy about to get a bigger house. About to get paid. So thank you. I keep Suge Knight and his friends and people keep paying Reggie right. It's like a bank that's keep on giving. Keep on giving. So that's what happened. Well, just stay tuned. Y'all see. Y'all see. It's unfortunate that I really, really, as I said in that video, really, really like that person.
Oh, wait. If you were detained at any San Bernardino juvenile detention facility, such as High Desert or Gilbert Street,
Man, so Reggie is just a scumbag, bro. Reggie is just a scumbag, bro. Jimmy Levine was scared of Pac. Specifically told Suge that Pac could not get his address. And then we got Reggie trying to basically blemish the character of this attorney that's been talking to Suge. This is a lot, man. This is a whole lot. Another video will definitely break down the whole thing. We'll watch the whole Hip Hop Cops Extended Edition, breaking down Reggie Wright Jr. and everything else. Him and I think it was a Reg Rock something. The other dirty cop involved in the Tupac unaliving. But for right now, we're going to do the rest of this little video right here. We're going to be out of here until the next one, y'all.
All right, cool. Suge, we good, man. Happy to have you back on the platform, man.
Man, every day's a blessing. Ain't nothing changed, you know? Ain't smart being stupid.
Yes, indeed. So with that being said, man, before we get into the interview I've been dropping for the last week or so, we actually recorded that some months ago, like 2 or 3 months ago, but I was busy, so I never got to drop it. So I want the people to know that for they won't be confused. So Suge, off the record, you was telling me which one you prefer between Machiavelli and All Eyes on Me. If you don't mind, can you speak on that?
Well, All Eyes on Me, I look at it, one on the right hand, one on the left hand, one good, one evil. What I mean by that, could never been done without Pac. And every time you mention albums or those 2 albums with Pac, it make me miss him even more because he was so coachable. So when we was doing All Eyes on Me, Pac wanted to get everybody on Death Row involved, no matter who. He wanted them involved, period. That showed a lot of leadership, and he wasn't selfish. And I remember when we did so many songs that it's supposed to have been a single disc. The song was so good, I couldn't X nothing out. I said, well, shit, we're going to make a double CD. And Pac wanted to name it Euthanasia, Life After Death. And I was like, nah, it's you, nigga, you Pac. We can name it All Eyes on Me. It's all eyes on you, out of prison on death row, you know? He started laughing and says, that's what we're going with. So I felt that album was so important because he got everybody involved. He made careers off that. He put people in there that they was able to make money because off their publishing, you know? But Machiavelli was so incredible to me and to him because the first thing he thought about was, I'm going to call this album Machiavelli. Pac called me Simon. I called him Machiavelli. So he said, I'm going to call this Machiavelli. And he was going to be like Black Jesus. You know, like Jesus Christ, but he was black and he's Tupac. So he was like, we started sketching it. The cross, you know, him on the, you know, the cross. And I know a lot of people says Pac was talking about them. No, Pac was talking about himself as Black Jesus. I know that a lot of people say they came with the artwork, but that's not true. Pac himself was talking to me, and I can't even take the credit. I didn't go and say, Pac, you need to be on the cross. Pac was like, I want to be on the cross, like Jesus was. I grabbed some paper. I'm not an artist. I'm sketching and we clowning. And he taking the pencil, I'm taking the pencil. And then one of the guys who worked for me basically retraced it. And, you know, that's why it was so important. And every song on there was like one of the first songs we was playing before we was playing the other songs was Hail Mary. Every time that song came on, most people who had it before it came out was getting in trouble. You know, it made you just want to get out there. jump out there and get crazy. And that's what it was. And the studio setting was so different because I had house arrest to do. I was already on an ankle break doing house arrest. I knew Pac was coming on. I was like, well, look, there's no way I could be in one of my houses or one of my high rise doing house arrest and not be in the studio to work on Pac's projects. So I found this studio called Can-Am. People really weren't using it or whatever. They had a few people working there. But I got the studio and gave them all this bread and built really like an apartment in that studio. I built a whole office, showers, and a bedroom, and then got the another big unit next door and built the gym, right? Even though they had their own people there, if I'm gonna open up something, I always give jobs, because one thing we needed the most in those days for the culture of our people is jobs. A lot of people couldn't get jobs. So I was like, well, there's gonna be more employees. My office in the daytime from 9 to 5, it was in the Murdoch building in Westwood. And that building have security for us, the off-duty police officers or little bitches running around half naked. It was real corporate, you know, real corporate. Security never was at the office. So the studio, all the off-duty police officers that anybody ever know that works dealt with death row will be on 24-hour shifts, 2 at a time. Either they'll be sitting out front of the studio, grabbing, you know, balls or whatever, searching people as they go in, and they search people as they left. If it was hot, they was in front. If it was cold, they was in front. If it was raining, they sit in the chairs in a little area in the studio, but you had to go through these doors to get to the studio. Studio A was for Snoopy, the Dog Pound, and those type of guys, right? Because it was a smaller studio and it wasn't the SL board. Studio B, which I gave that studio to Tupac, that was the Tupac room. So the Tupac room was the nice SL board, way bigger, way flyer, way cleaner, right? It was just the best studio ever. Only person who was allowed to record and work in that studio was Tupac. Then we had a pre-production studio for the guys who wasn't really known as producers yet, but they can experiment all day long. I had a girl answer the phone. So one day, we was talking about doing a video, and this girl named Queenie came by. I got major love for Queenie. When she first came by, everybody like, no, Simon, don't meet with her, don't put in the video, don't have her around here. I'm like, why? What's wrong? She worked for Ruthless. She worked for Easy. Easy had died from AIDS, so everybody's, well, Queenie gotta have AIDS. Because she was with Easy, and Easy ain't gonna have her around unless she's fucking her. I said, hey, look, well, I ain't here to fuck her. I'm here to hear the sister out and see if we can put in a video or help her out. So she came and auditioned, and she needed a job. She needed to make some money.
All right, that's what we gonna leave it right there, bro. We gonna leave it right there. Appreciate everybody liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, hitting that notification bell so I know y'all there. So I can throw it to you when it's in the air, man. But yeah, it was crazy, definitely crazy video, bro. Appreciate everybody liking, commenting, and sharing, as well as tapping into the live. Share this live to everybody, man. Hit the Twitch. Follow the Twitch. Follow the Kick, man. Reggie Wright Jr., man, he is definitely a conniving, evil person. Jenny Lovine as well was somebody that was very two-faced towards Pac. Now we know these things. It's very cool and good that we can get this information from Suge. Shout out to Dialogue for all this different content that they got with Suge, talking about all these different things, man. But yeah, we gonna leave it right there. Appreciate everybody liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, hitting that notification bell so I know y'all there. Let's do it, man. We out.